bring in our panel. Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. Amy Walter, national editor for the Cook Political Report. Byron York, chief political correspondent of the Washington Examiner. And Fox News senior political analyst Brit Hume. Brit, I want to start with you. You've seen a lot in Washington. We haven't seen anything like this. What about the president's reaction and what this day really means?
Well, I don't think there's much doubt, Brett, that the president's actions and his entire conduct post the election are what led us to this point. If you were a Trump believer and you believe the extravagant claims he has made about how this election was stolen, you believe, therefore, that something truly horrible had happened that changes the face of our republic. It is utter nonsense, but he believed it, and he got them to believe it. And believing that, they did what they did today. I sense, Brett, that there's a sea change now in the Republican Party as a result of this. Trump's post-election conduct, I think, has split him off from about half, maybe more than that, of his voting base, which is to say this. His voting base has two elements. One are the hardcore Trump supporters who will do whatever he wants, believe whatever he says, will never desert him no matter what. The rest of them are everyday Republicans who sort of signed on to Trump because they liked what he was doing. They may not have liked what he said all the time. They may have been put off by his manner, by his vulgarity and the rest of it, but they were with him and they voted for him. I think those people now almost certainly have deserted him. And if the election were held tonight, he'd lose by far more than he lost the last time. And I don't think they'll be around for any effort by Trump to be elected again 4 years from now.
Matt Schlapp, you're a believer that this election was stolen. You have fought for the president. The things that happened on the Capitol today, the mob that got in, I call them the mob. We said protesters earlier, but that's not accurate for the folks who went inside and did damage inside the Capitol. Those are extremists. Is it fair to say that? And despite the fact that there is a large portion of that Trump crowd out there that may have just been showing up to be peaceful, the people who stormed the Capitol were extremists and dangerous.
You know, I was pretty harsh on the Black Lives Matter protesters, and when they encroached the White House perimeter. I was there. I actually went into the crowd one night and I was right there right before they set fire to the St. John's Church, which is the president's church. I was pretty critical of that, what I considered violence, attacks on cops. I feel the same way today. I feel like this is way over the line. You know, those cops are someone's sons and someone's daughters, someone's grandkids, and they ought to be treated with respect. And we need to have a big, vigorous First Amendment that allows for massive amounts of freedom of political speech. And that's what rallies are for. This was well beyond just a rally by these people who, I think there was some section of these people that intended this maybe all along. They seemed very prepared for it, and I think we should condemn it. I think it was wrong. I think it's a terrible, dark day for our country, and I'm just still in a little bit of shock over it all.
Well, what about what the president did today and how he's handled it, Matt? I mean, what would you say about all of that?
Look, I've spent 5 years with everyone trying to say what the president should say or shouldn't say. All I can tell you is my view is what happened today does not represent the Trump supporters who I've gotten to know and love, the thousands and millions of them who I spent a lot of time with over the course of the last 4 years and really intensely over the course of the last 6 months. I think the president was right to tell people to be peaceful, to keep the protests peaceful, to stop anything that wasn't peaceful. But I think he ought to do what he always does. He ought to keep talking to this, because I think there's a lot of Americans out there who are rattled by what they saw. You know, I understand there's a 16-year-old young woman who was shot. Now, you know, maybe she was doing terrible things and deserved to be shot. But when people breach these lines and they go after cops, you know, we're the party that talks about law and order and respecting cops. We shouldn't be taking
That's where we leave our colleagues at Fox News.